3,000 years ago, the Mediterranean was the center of a sophisticated, hyper-connected world. The Egyptians built towering pyramids, the Hittites forged iron in Anatolia, and the Mycenaean Greeks constructed massive palaces. Trade routes stretched for thousands of miles, moving tin, copper, and gold. It was a golden age of stability and diplomacy. And then, everything burned. In less than 50 years, the greatest empires on Earth collapsed simultaneously. Cities were reduced to ash, trade stopped, and writing itself was forgotten. In the middle of this chaos was a mysterious, terrifying force that historians simply call the Sea Peoples. They arrived from the horizon, destroyed everything in their path, and then vanished from history, leaving behind the greatest cold case of the ancient world. Who were they? The Egyptians are our primary witnesses. Pharaoh Ramses III recorded a desperate struggle against a conspiracy of islands. He described a coalition of tribes, the Peleset, the Shardana, the Lukka, who moved with their families, their cattle, and their warriors, sweeping across the Mediterranean like a tidal wave. They weren't just pirates, they were a displaced nation on the move. They didn't just want to loot, they wanted to replace. Their weapons were advanced, their tactics were brutal, and the professional armies of the Bronze Age empires, designed for chariot warfare, simply couldn't stop them. From the shores of modern-day Turkey to the gates of Egypt, the message was the same: they are coming, and no one can stand before them. For a long time, historians thought the Sea Peoples were the sole cause of the collapse. But modern science has revealed a darker, more complex truth. The Sea Peoples weren't that fire that burned the world, they were that spark that hit a powder keg. Evidence from tree rings and lake sediment shows that a massive, 300-year drought hit the region at exactly the same time. As crops failed and famine spread, the hyper-specialized economies of the Bronze Age began to shatter. The Sea Peoples were likely victims of this same climate collapse, refugees forced from their homes in Europe or the Mediterranean islands, turning to violence as a last resort for survival. When they hit the weakened empires, the entire system suffered a cascading failure. The most haunting part of the story is what happened after the dust settled. After their climactic battle with Egypt, the Sea Peoples simply disappeared. There is no Sea People empire. No capital city. No written language of their own. Some scholars believe the Peleset became the Philistines of the Bible. Others think the Shardana gave their name to the island of Sardinia. They didn't vanish, they integrated into the ruins of the world they helped destroy. They became the ancestors of the people who would eventually build the next age, the Iron Age. Why is the story of the Sea Peoples so popular in the US and Europe today? Because it feels familiar. We live in a world that is just as connected, just as reliant on long-distance supply chains, and just as vulnerable to climate change as the Bronze Age was. The Sea Peoples remind us that even the most powerful civilizations are only a few harvests away from chaos. They represent the unforeseen variable, the sudden shock that can bring a global system to its knees. They are the ghosts of history, reminding us that no empire is too big to fail. If you're fascinated by the mysteries of how empires rise and fall, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We dive into the hidden turning points of history and the scientific secrets of our planet. Join our community of explorers, subscribe now and click the bell icon to stay updated. Tell us in the comments, who do you think the Sea Peoples really were?